Right. So yesterday we have seen how to how to create foreign key constraints on what SAP HANA database tables, and we have seen how to alter that particular foreign key constraints, and we have seen the standard what system views related to what normal constraints, and as well as what foreign key constraints, and we also understood the meaning of what referential integrity, that is on delete cascade and on delete restrict. Okay, now in continuation to that, let us discuss about something called as comments. It's a very simple this thing, comments. Okay, so these comments we can use for providing description for your table or even for your table columns. Just like if you take our ABAP environment, when we create a table in SC11. Okay, if you in SC11 we will provide the table name, and if you click on create button, we need to provide some short description. Okay, that is nothing but what comment. Similarly, for every column in your table also we can provide what description. Here also in ANA also we can maintain comments for what your table as well as your table columns. Okay, so let me open ANA Studio. So I want to create a table. For that table, I want to maintain the comment, as well as for the table columns also, I want to maintain the comment. So let's see how to do this. You can't hear anything. Is it audible to everyone? Others?
Yes,
Manoj,
it's audible.
1 second. Manoj is having problem. 1 second, please. Right. So in this ANA Studio, let me connect to the database. Then it is connected. So under this catalog, already we have one schema, Gensoft SQL. Okay, so I want to create a table. Okay, so let me we have two tables or some tables, a department and employee table. Let us create one more table. So I'll open the SQL console, right click on that schema name, open SQL console. Right. So, so far we have seen some statements like a create statement or alter statement, insert statement, delete statement. So, when we are using those statements, in every statement before your table name, we are prefixing what? Schema name. Okay, before your table name we are prefixing the schema name, like we are saying create column table schema name dot table name. So I don't want to use that schema name in every statement. So what I want to do is uh, we can set that schema for this entire session. Okay, I can set the schema for the entire session, so that you need not prefix a session name for every statement. So how do you set the schema? I'll use a statement called as set schema. Try to understand. Set schema. What is our schema name? Means what are the objects I'm creating or what are the data manipulations I'm doing. I want to reflect it to the schema called as Gensoft SQL. So I'll say set schema Gensoft SQL. Okay, so this schema is applicable for this entire session till you close this particular SQL console. Okay, so let me execute this. Okay, I'll say F8. Right, so schema got what? Executed. So this is a way we can avoid the prefixing of the schema before every object. So this schema is set for what? Entire session. Now let me create a table. So I'll say create column table. Okay, create column table. Okay, instead of prefixing the schema name directly, I'll use the table name. let me say something emp comments. Okay, something. Okay, create table, create column table emp comments. Okay, let me open the parenthesis. Let us give some two columns here, employee id, employee id int primary key, and let us give another thing, employee name, varchar of what, 20, close the table. Right, so this is my table. Let me execute this. F8 table got what, executed. Now if I open the table in the UI, right, so this is a table we have created. If I refresh my tables, right click on the table section, when I refresh, yeah, so this is my table emp comments. Let me open the table in the UI, right click on the table, and also open definition. Yeah, we have two columns here. Now you can observe here, this is a table. There is a tab here, further properties. Further properties. If I go to the tab further properties, okay, you can see here there is no comment maintained here. Okay, there is one more thing here called as temporary table type. We will discuss that going forward. So in the further properties tab, there is no comment maintained for the what, table. Okay, done. Similarly, I'm having two columns, emp id and employee name. You can see if you scroll right hand side, there is a column called as comment. Okay, so I want to maintain the comment for this. Already the table is created. Already the table is created. I want to maintain the comments for each of the columns as well as the whole table. So how do we do it? See, very simple. I'll say comment on table. Okay, comment on table. What is the table name? Emp comments. So table is already available. Now I'm maintaining the comment. So I want to give comment for the whole table. Comment on table emp comments. Okay, is, okay, is, you can give any description. Let me give the description as something, employee data, something, employee data. Let me execute this. When I say F8, so it got successfully executed. Similarly, let me maintain the comment for the columns. So I'll say comment, comment on what, column. Okay, comment on column. Earlier table, comment on column. Which table? Column emp comments. Emp comments. Emp comments dot, for which column? Emp id. Emp id is, okay, you give whatever you want. So let me give the what, description as something, what, employee number. Employee number. Let me maintain comment for other column. It's not compulsory to maintain the comment for every column. Okay, it's our wish. So other column is what, emp name is employee name. This should be in single quotes. The description should be enclosed in what, single quotes, this part. Okay, so let me execute both the statements at a time. So you can observe here, here also, here also, here also, I am not prefixing with what, I am not prefixing my schema name, because already I have set the schema for the whole session. So when I execute, when I say F8, done, it is executing. Manoj, is it audible now? Okay, fine, fine. Oh, what happened, I got an error. Why? Could not execute comment on column emp name. Okay, yeah. Why like that? Invalid column name. Oh, I'm sorry. Good. So you can see here. Yeah, yeah. What is the column name here? E name. I gave it as what? EMP name. That's the reason. So let me just modify it. Let me execute. I'll say F8. I'm selecting only this statement now. Meanwhile, let me copy this. Okay, so this is a way to maintain the comment for your old table and for the individual columns. So you can see it is successfully executed. Let me open the table in the UI. Right click on this, also open definition. So if you go to the table level further properties, we can see the comment is maintained. Employee data. Similarly, if you open this, we are having what employee number and what employee name. So it doesn't have any effect on the functionality. This is only to provide some meaningful description for your old table. Okay. So we can also provide the comment for the table in UI also. Okay. Just while creating the table itself, I can maintain that. Okay. And one more thing you can observe here. If I open the definition for the table level itself, if you go to further properties, there is something called as temporary table type. Temporary table type. So let us quickly understand this. Yeah. So here I want to create a table. What shall I create? Yeah. Create. Okay. Let me create a new table. Create again temporary table are again of two types: global temporary table and what local temporary table. I repeat, temporary tables are of two types: global temporary table and what local temporary table. So as of now, let me create global temporary table and let us understand the concepts. I'll say create global. You have to use this keywords: temporary. Create global temporary column table. Okay, let me give the table name as emp what uh, yeah, let me give it as emp global temp. Okay, emp global temp. Done. Let me open the parenthesis and here I'll say emp id. As usual, I'll give the primary key. Then let me give another column ename. I'll give it as what something varchar of what 20. Close the table. Right, so I'm trying to create a table, but while creating the table I gave the addition what global temporary table. So let's see what is the concept of this. Let me execute this. Create global temporary column table so and so empd. Done. Let me execute this. So I'll say f8. I got an error. Oh, good, 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 good. Yeah. So you can see here, could not execute so and so because simple reason is, yeah, you can see feature not supported, cannot create temporary global, cannot create temporary table with what? Primary key. So far we are creating what? A normal table. It is our wish whether you want to create primary key or what without primary key. But it seems that these temporary tables cannot contain what? Primary key it seems. Okay, so let me document this. So what is the change I have to do now? I need to what? Remove that particular primary key. So I'll keep this as it is for our reference. Done. So the change I'll do is I'll remove the primary key. Done. Okay, let me try to give not null. Understood? I'm unable to give what primary key. Let me check whether I can give the not null or not. Okay, so I'll execute this. Okay, I'll say f8. Done. Good, it has created. So what is the meaning? Only primary key is what not supported, but not null constraint I can create. So let us understand the concept of this temporary table. So this is valid. Done. Now here, what is the meaning of this temporary global temporary table? Means this table is visible to everyone. This table is visible to everyone, but the data is local to this particular session only. Okay, so let me check whether it is visible in the table section or not. Let me refresh here. I'll right click on the table section. I'll say refresh. Done. So you can see what is the table name I gave: emp global temp. Emp global temp, it is available here. It is available, it's sitting in the table section. Now what I'll do is, let me maintain the data. So what is the point you have to understand related to global temporary table is, the definition is visible to everyone. The definition is visible to everyone, but the data is local to that session only. Means once you come out of the session, the data would be what? Destroyed. So what I'll do is, let me maintain some data here. I'll say what? Insert into, okay, insert into, what is the table name? EMP global temp values. I'll give some data. One, yeah. So this is my data. Let me execute this. Okay, I'll say F8. Done. So three statements got what? Executed. Three statements got executed. I want to query them. How do you query now? I'll say select star from, okay, select star from, I'll give the table name EMP global temp. EMP global temp. Done. Let me execute this. I'll say F8. Done. So you can see here, I'm able to see the data. This is within the same session, I'm able to see the data. Done. Right, so data is visible to me in the current session. Now what I'll do is, one second please. Yeah, what I'll do is here, let me try to preview the data from this. I'll right click on the table. I'll say open content. I'm saying open content. How many records are there? When I've executed this, I'm able to see three records in this same session. Now I'll right click on the table. I'll say open content. Done. I'm unable to see any data. So where we use this means, you can imagine this is similar to internal table. Okay, what is the lifetime of the internal table in our ABAP programs? Only during the program execution. Once a program execution is completed, the data stored in that internal table will be destroyed. It is local to the program. Similarly, the data here will be what? Local to this particular session. So generally we use it in what? Scripting. Scripting in the sense, when we write procedures, functions, all those things, we'll be using this global temporary table to store the data temporarily. Once execution is completed, the data would be what? Destroyed. So when I go to that part, again we'll be seeing that, but this is the way to create the global temporary table. Let me try to open the definition here. I'll just close this. Right click on this, I'll say open definition. Right, it is open. Okay, this is a table. I'll go to further properties. Yeah, you can observe now, temporary table type is not global. Earlier it was showing it as what? None. None in the sense what? The table definition is visible to everyone, and even the data is also permanent. I can access the data in any of the sessions. But here, in case of global temporary tables, the data would be what? Local to that particular session. Hope it's clear to everyone. And one more point you have to understand is, we cannot create primary key columns in what? Global temporary tables. Any questions so far? So where exactly we use that means, in what? Script block. I mean to say procedures, functions, all those things.
Sridhar, seems me is okay for internal table purpose, but the definition is visible to everyone. It seems me something called messy.
In a sense,
Because see, the tables, it is visible. See, the internal table, we're going to, in the scripting, we're going to create multiple or hundreds of.
visible to everyone in the sense, visible to everyone in the sense, this particular owner of this schema can access this particular table in any of the session. The owner of this schema, the owner of this schema can access this particular any of the session. Even if I close this, the table will be still available for this particular schema.
Okay. Can't we create the dynamic internal tables just like SQL?
Dynamic, yes, we can. That is in our ABAP reports. I'm talking about scripting. Where do you write the script? In the SQL console, in the procedures.
Yeah, even SQL procedures, we without creating this global temporary tables, we can create something called internal table.
Yes,
Not exactly
no,
the
no,
meaning,
yeah, yeah.
meaning
We
of.
we can create, but we don't have UI facility for that, na. Here, what happens? I can see the definition at any point of time in the UI, But
Uh,
what?
yeah, but
Yeah.
except checking the definition, but there is no special advantage.
Advantage is there in the sense, whatever you are saying is, if you create the dynamic internet, it is local to that particular block. Okay, local to that
Hmm.
particular block. Okay, now same definition I want to reuse in other procedure. Same definition I want to reuse in other procedure. So what I have to do now? Again, I have to create the definition. Na? If it is local, am I clear? What you said is absolutely,
Reusability.
yeah, reusability. I can use the same structure. I can use the same structure across the procedures,
Okay,
right?
that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, if you think in ABAP perspective, we'll have a feeling that it's of not of much of use, but the concept is there. Okay, the main difference between the normal table and this one is, in case of normal table, the data is persistent, but whereas here the data is what, local to that particular session. Okay, done. Now similarly, there is one more thing here. Let me just create a local temporary table, and generally, as per my knowledge, we will use it very rarely, this one, but option is there. Create local temporary column table. Let me give the name as emp local temp, emp id not null, done. Okay, I'll I may get one error. Let's see what is that error. Okay, so what is the only change I did? Instead of global, I made it as what, local. Okay, and this is the table name, emp local temp, done. I should get an error. Let's see what is that error. I'm trying to execute that. Select the statement, press F8. Done. Good. I got an error. Yes. What is the error here? Feature not supported. Local temporary table must start with hash. Okay. So this is the guideline we have to follow. It seems that the local temporary table must start with what? Hash, it seems. So let me just keep it for our reference. Done. So what is the change I have to do now? I need to what? Prefix the table name with what? Hash. Here, the only change I have to do is I have to prefix this with what? Hash. Okay, let me check whether I can create it now. I'll say F8. I'll say F8. It is trying to create that. Manikanta, are you there? It's taking some time. So, what is the difference between global temporary table and local temporary table is, in case of global temporary table, the definition is what, permanent. The definition is what, permanent. Okay, but whereas here, even the definition and the data will be what, local to this particular session. Okay, let it execute once. Meanwhile, I'll copy this.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, is it similar like table type and internal table, local internal table?
Yeah, you can assume like this. Yes. Table type
Okay, thank you,
we
sir.
create in SC11. Table type we create in SC11 and local enter within the program. Yes, you can assume like that. Yeah, you can see it got created here. The local temporary table got created. Now, what I'll do is let me try to refresh this. Right click on this, refresh. Yes, I'm unable to see the definition here. See, even the definition is also what local. Even the definition is also local. Let me maintain quickly some data in that. Insert into EMP local. Done. So this is the data. Let me try to execute this. Oh, sorry. Let me execute this F8. Yes, it got executed. Let me query that F8. What is the error I got? Invalid table name. Could not find table slash views in schema so and so. Good. Okay. So you can observe here. I'm unable to. Oh, I'm sorry. I have not changed it. Sorry. EMP local temp. No. Let me execute this. F8. Yeah, I got the data. So once I close the session, what happens? Even the data will also be what? Destroyed. So what is the difference between global and local means? As Gautam said, global is like what? Table type created in what? SC11, and local temporary table is what? Is like an internal table which is created within the program. Yeah, you can compare like that. Okay, that's all. That is the only change between global and what? Local. Hope it's clear to everyone. And what is the other prerequisite? Local temporary table must start with what? Ash it seems. That is the guideline you have to follow. Done. So we understood how to manage the table, how to create the how to create the foreign key relationship, all those things. Now let us quickly go to something called as triggers on table. Okay, this is also very important. Triggers on table. So this triggers on table you can assume similar to events on your table. Events on your table. Just like if you take our ABAP environment, if you take our custom table, after creating the table, we will generate what? Table maintenance. Okay, on top of the table maintenance, okay, if you want to provide any dynamic features, okay, we'll go forward defining and implementing the events. Understood? In our ABAP environment, we'll implement the events as part of table level after generating what? Table maintenance. Okay, similarly in HANA database also we can create what? Triggers. So I can say triggers are basically used for what? Performing what? Follow up actions. Okay, they are used for what? Performing follow up actions. Follow up action is what? I am doing some what action. To that action, some other follow up action has to be performed automatically. So that can be done by using what? Triggers. Another thing we can achieve is, yesterday, in order to maintain referential integrity, we have created what? Foreign key. Okay, but what we can do with triggers is, without creating the foreign key, without creating the foreign key relationship between the tables, we can maintain referential integrity using what? Triggers. So we'll discuss that going forward. So the main purpose of triggers is to perform what? Follow up actions. I am doing some data manipulation changes on one table. Because of that change, some other thing should get reflected in other table. So that can be achieved by using what? Triggers. I can say triggers are nothing but dynamic actions which are performed automatically. Okay, so let's see how to create the triggers. Okay, it is basically an event based, just like events in our table maintenance. Here we go for what? Triggers. So you can see here we have a what node called as what? Triggers. As of now we don't have any triggers. So let me create the trigger here. And one more point, this table I can create manually by using the SQL statement or by using what UI. How do you create the table by using UI? You can right click on the table and I can say what new table. Understood? So it's possible to create the table using what UI, user interface. Okay, but triggers cannot be created using UI. Okay, triggers cannot be created using UI. It should be done only through what statements. Okay, it should be created using what SQL editor only, SQL console. So let me create a trigger. Before that I need to take some two tables. Yeah, I'll take a very simple example to begin with. What I'll do is I'll create some two tables. Okay, in one of the table, whenever I insert a new record, automatically a record should be inserted in what other table. Automatically the record should be inserted in what other table. So first of all, let me create the table. So I'll say, yeah, here I'll say create column table. Create column table. I need not prefix with the what schema name. It's available in that session. um, yeah, I'll give the table name as something audit something. Okay, I'm giving the table name as audit. Let me what provide the field names, column names. I'll give username. Okay, username I'll say varchar 2 of 20. Okay, varchar 2 of 20. Done. Next, um, creation date time something. Okay, I'm giving the column name as what creation date time. Okay, I'll give the data type as timestamp timestamp, which is a combination of what date and what time. Timestamp. Done. Then here I want to make these two columns as what primary key columns. Okay, I want to make these two columns as primary key columns. So what I'll do here, see, this is another way of doing that. So primary key. Understood? So far, what you are doing immediately after the column, we are giving the constraint. Okay, now I'll say primary key. I want to create a composite primary key. Composite primary key means what? Combination of more than one primary key is called what? Composite primary key. So I'll say composite primary key. Let me give the column names here. What are they? Username, comma. What is the other one? Creation date time. Creation date time. Close this and close the table. Done. Let me check the syntax. Done. I gave comma here. Fine, because further I'm having the statement. Done. Username, creation date time. Done. Okay, so this is the table I'm trying to create. Let me execute this. I'll say F8. Done. It has created that. Let me refresh. Yeah, you can see audit table is there. Let me open it in the UI. Yeah, you can see now. You can see for both the columns. It is what primary key field. Okay, done. And you can see here the SQL data type is what varchar and timestamp. Okay, what is the column store data type? Internally the data type is what string and what long date. It seems string and what long date. But when you are doing it using SQL console, we'll always refer to what SQL data type. Okay, done. So as of now, this table doesn't have any record. So when I go for the content, doesn't have any record. So let me create one more table. I'll create one more table. Create column table. Okay, I'll give it as something emp underscore trigger something. Okay, create column table emp underscore trigger. Let me give the field name as like what emp id. Okay, int primary key, and I'll give another field, a simple field employee name. I'll give it as what? Varchar of what? 20. Close the table. Done. Yeah, this is my table, primary key and chart. I hope this is clear to everyone. Okay, composite key. Done. Let me execute this. F8. Done. The table is successfully created. So if I go to the UI, the table is available, and this table also doesn't have any data. Both are what? Empty. Done. Both the tables are empty. Now what I want to create the what? Trigger. Okay, so what is the trigger I want to create? Whenever I insert a record into this table, okay, whenever I insert a record into this table, automatically it should insert the record into this particular table called as what? Audit. Okay, so let me check how to do it. So here I'll say uh, create trigger. Okay, create, again we are using create statement, create trigger. Okay, so I'll give the trigger name as, what shall I give? I'll give it as something audit log, something audit logs, right? Create trigger, trigger name. Done. Then here we have multiple syntaxes here. Let me introduce to one of the syntax. After insert, okay, we have before, after. Okay, after insert on, understood? After insert on which table? Emp underscore what? Trigger. Okay, after insert on emp underscore trigger for each row, for each row. Done. Done. Okay, after insert and so on, so for each row, begin. Okay, this is the way we create the trigger, begin. Okay, what is that business logic you want to implement? Whenever I insert a record into this table, automatically we have to insert a record into this particular audit table. So I'll say begin, I'll say insert into. Okay, insert into, what is that other table? Audit. Insert into audit. Done. Insert and edit values. What are the two columns in that table? One is username, which is varchar of 2, and creation date and timestamp. Okay, so just like in ABAP we have some system fields, here also we have some predefined fields. Okay, so I want the current username, so also current underscore what? User. Okay, current underscore user, comma what? Current underscore timestamp. Current underscore time. I can assume these are what? System fields. Current underscore user and current underscore timestamp. Done. Insert into so and so values, current underscore user, comma current underscore stamp, and end. That's it. Semicolon. Yeah, here you have to give a semicolon. Okay, done. So between this begin and end, I can write any kind of business logic. Okay, so anyhow, going forward, we'll write some complex business scenarios. This is only just to introduce about the trigger. Okay, so done. This is my trigger. Let me try to execute this. Current underscore stamp, it is highlighting, but current underscore user is not highlighting. Let me check if it's valid or not. I'll say F8. Let me copy this meanwhile. It's still executing. Yeah, what happened here? Statement gone done successfully. What created? Done. Trigger is created. Let me refresh the triggers here. Right click on this. I'll say refresh. Yes, the trigger got what created. The trigger got created. Let me check whether I can open the definition. This is the trigger. Right click on this and I'll say what open definition. Done. I'm able to open the definition, but I cannot edit it. Remember, I cannot edit it. Okay, done. But I can do it by using what? I can change the definition of the trigger. I can change the definition of the trigger by using what alter statement that we'll discuss going forward. Done. So this is a trigger got created. Okay. Now what I'll do? I'll try to insert the record into what emp underscore trigger, so that automatically it has to insert the record into what audit table. So before that, let me quickly open emp underscore trigger, open content. I don't have any data in this table. Let me open audit, right click on this, open content. I don't have data in this also. Fine. Now let me insert the record into emp underscore trigger table. Insert into what is the table name? Emp underscore trigger. Emp underscore trigger. I'll say values. What are the employee ID and employee number? So I'll say one comma something, one comma 0. So I'm trying to insert a record into what one table. Okay, so let me try to execute this. I'll say fit. Done. It got successfully executed. So if I open this emp underscore trigger, yes, data is available in this. Fine. Let me open the audit here. I'll say open content. Yes, you can see automatically the record got inserted. Okay, what is the username? Anna. We are working in the user Anna. Database user is what? Anna. And this is the date and time. February 7 to the timestamp. Timestamp. Okay, let me try to insert one more record. So here I'll say, right? Done. Okay, let me execute this. I'll say F8. It has executed. If I open the EMP trigger and refresh, I got two records fine. If I open audit and refresh, yes, so you can see the time difference here. Slight change is the time. Slight change in the time. So I'm able to successfully create the trigger. Okay, and when I try to insert a record into one table, it is firing the trigger, which is executing the business logic in the trigger, which is responsible for inserting the record into what audit table. Okay, now let me try to drop the trigger. I'll say drop trigger. Understood? What is the trigger name? Audit logs. Drop trigger audit logs. Let me check. I'll say F8. Yes, the trigger is successfully dropped. Now what I'll do, I'll try to insert a record into the EMP trigger once again. So since the trigger is not there, it should not insert any record into the other table. So I'll say something for Pavan here. When I execute, when I say F8, done. Okay, let me open the EMP trigger. Okay, and I refresh. I got 4 Pavan. If I refresh here, done. So I am having only what 3 records. Here we are having what 4 records. So even if I refresh this, yeah, the trigger got what deleted. So how do you delete a trigger? Like this, drop trigger name. This is a very simple basic example. Okay, we will see the complex scenarios going forward. Hope it's clear to everyone. So triggers are used for implementing what table level events. Triggers are used for implementing table level events, and we can also use triggers to implement referential integrity between the tables. Referential integrity. Okay, just like yesterday we have seen the referential integrity by creating the foreign key. Without creating the foreign key, you can maintain the referential integrity. So going forward, we'll come across what many other what syntaxes, after insert, all those things. After insert, before
Sridhar,
insert. Yeah. Please tell me.
can we do the column based trigger?
No,
Not
no.
for each row.
Yeah, understood. See, again, I'll discuss any tomorrow. There are triggers can be fired for each row or for the entire table, not for the individual columns. Okay, not only here.
I guess
Yeah.
in SQL level it can be possible, I guess.
No. In Oracle, as per my, you're talking about Oracle?
Yeah, no, yes, not Oracle. Complete what database I don't remember correctly, but I seen in a column level a trigger as well. But I can come up with correct database name and what. And
I'll also check Polaro, but as per my knowledge in Oracle also, we have statement level, table level trigger and row level trigger. Table level trigger means which gets triggered on behalf of the entire table. Okay, and this is for individual record. Okay, anyhow,
yeah, is
yeah.
my mistake. My mistake. Actually, I'm thinking about authorization, access authorization in column level. Sorry,
Okay.
it's not a trigger.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this one, the integrity, the foreign key concept
Correct.
through the trigger
Uh-huh.
might be some disadvantage through the performance issues, I guess.
But I've read the documentation many times, but nowhere they're talking about the performance, Pulara.
Something maybe not, I don't know for the HANA, but some other databases
Uh-huh.
triggers to that referential integrity is a performance issue. If you compare with a real foreign key concept.
Okay. Might be, but let me check. I cannot comment at this stage. Okay. I need to
Okay,
refer to the documentation, then let you know.
okay, that's fine.
Yeah, but what I know is we can achieve referential integrity using triggers also. But performance wise, which is better? I need to just read the documentation and come up with an analysis, Polaro. Okay.
Okay. I guess when we are using the different databases, sometimes when you have the two different database, once you database, complete database, I'm
Okay.
talking about, not the, if you want to trigger from one database to another database is a real usage for the trigger side.
But what I know is triggers. Uh, we can create the triggers on top of the tables and views within the same database. Across the database, I've never seen that kind of scenario. What Pullaram?
We can use it, but maybe in a HANA level might be we can't use, but in other databases we use this.
Okay. Sudhakar, any comments on that part? Have you gone through that kind of scenario? Means if you create a trigger on one database, it should reflect in other database. So
No, sir, but I can check and I'll update you.
yeah. Because I also
In
never came up
our
with that.
project, they
Yeah.
already created some triggers on the tables,
Uh-huh.
but I'm not sure about the performance. I can check and come back to you.
Yeah. Please refer to that also. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Others, is it clear to everyone? You can compare this trigger similar to what events defined at what table maintenance level in our ABAP.
Sridhar, can we also use control statements while using this insert statement?
Control
When between
statement in the
the
sense?
like if while
Yeah.
doing all that.
That's what I said. That's this trigger. As of now, I'm just using insert statement. Okay, I can write any kind of business logic. I can write conditional statements. I can write loop statements. Within this, I can write some select query, and based on that select query result, I can do some comparison. Then I can perform the activity. Yes, we can. Once
So
I yeah.
we
Tell
have
me.
all that in our topics, right? In our
Yes. Once I introduce procedures, na, okay. Again, I'll club these triggers and procedures because in that
fine.
procedures, I'll be covering that conditional looping, all those things. Yes, we can write.
Yeah.
Anyhow, in another 1 or 2 days, I'm what modifying this contents slightly, so that's the reason there's a delay. I thought of sharing it, it's ready, but I want to do some changes. Okay, so that's the reason I'm not shared. Maybe in 1 or 2 days I'll share it with everyone. You can just go through that. And again, no, see, we should not restrict only to the course contents. Okay, we have to refer to the documentation, because it is not possible to cover each and every syntax, and whatever we discuss in the session is not final. This is only to just know, understand the environment and how to use it. Based on that, we have to do lots of exploration. So even if we discuss for 6 months also, it is not sufficient. Okay, Samir, I saw your mail. Okay, so don't what stick to only the course contents, understood na? Stick to the documentation. If you are saying yourself as an ABAP consultant, ABAP consultant, you should be what aware of the entire thing which is there in the standard documentation. Don't go by the course contents. Okay, I'm telling to everyone. Okay, we have to do lots of R&D.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
Hello.
Yeah, tell me, Devashish.
Sir, actually, how to get the Explorer? Sorry, then Explorer. So many syntax are there.
Hmm.
So how to get there?
How to get means, today I'll share you the what standard PDFs related to HANA. Okay, so in that
Okay.
PDFs you will have complete documentation. Okay, you'll have complete documentation. Just go through that one. That will be more than sufficient to get hands-on experience in HANA, and even you can go for certification also. Understood? I'll share that PDFs today with everyone. Okay. Done. Okay, so tomorrow what we'll do is, triggers is not completed. Triggers is not completed. Again, we'll come back to that. Tomorrow I'll discuss another concept. Again, we'll come back to what triggers. Probably tomorrow I'll introduce to what how to create procedures. We'll see 1 or 2 basic examples. Then again, we'll club these triggers and what procedures. Okay, but I got mails from many people regarding the server access. Already I've shared the details. You please coordinate with that vendor and start practicing, because while listening it looks simple. I'm going in very slow phase because it's very new to everyone. So maybe after 4 or 5 days I'll increase the phase, but by that time please take that server access and start doing the practice. Okay, then any other questions, others?
Hello, sir. Sir, how to create the tables? So without creating any syntax, how to create the table?
Using
I think
UI.
in the SCL.
Yeah, here.
Yes.
See, right click on the table. Right click on the table. Say new table. It's opening that. This is nothing but creating the table using UI.
Okay.
It's taking some time.
Sir, in the background, whenever the we are creating any table, so in the background the same code is there.
Obviously, na. When you generate SQL for that, when you generate SQL, you'll have the same kind of whatever the SQL statement we wrote. You'll have the same thing. Here and there, you'll have
Okay.
some additional options, which are optional, but the base syntax would be same. It's taking some time to open that. Mute your speakers, na, Debashish. Let it open. Please mute your speakers. Abhinash, you didn't got the rental server access details, huh? Okay, I'll share it today. Yeah, I can see here. I right clicked on the table. I said open new table. It has created. Provide the table name. Okay, so I'll give the table name as something. What? Test EMP. Okay, something. Table name is test EMP. Which schema? Gensoft SQL. And what is that table? What type? Whether it is row store or column store, or you want to create a table type. So the table type again is a different discussion. Let it be column store. I'll give the name. Okay, I'll give the name as something EMP number. Okay, SQL data type. Let me give it as what? Integer. Okay, and if you want to give any primary key, just click on that. Whenever we create the primary key, what happens? Primary key is the combination of what? Unique and what? Not null. Okay, let me insert one more record. I'll click on the plus symbol, ename. Okay, varchar 2. I'll give the size as something what? 20. That's it. Okay, now execute this. The table would be what? Created. That's all. You can see the statement. You can see above, create column table, so and so, so and so. The table got what? Create, successfully executed. This is a way to create the table. And to maintain the data.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Gautam, tell
Hello,
me.
sir. Sir, how to create a global temporary table in the UI, sir?
UI5.
In the UI, in the global
UI.
temporary table, we have created.
Here, go to further properties, and here we have the temporary table type is there, na? Okay, you need to select that. Already I've executed that. Before executing, just in the further properties column, a tab. Gautam, is it clear? Before executing, in the further properties
Okay,
tab,
sir.
you select what? Table
Do we
template.
have to write a syntax for that one, sir?
No, no, no. See, once again, you see, right click on the table. I'll say new table. Okay, I'm creating a new table. Test EMP1. Okay, let me give the table name as what? EMP number. I'll give it as what? Integer. Then let me create another one. Employee name. I'll give it as varchar of 20. Okay, I'll go to what? Further properties. Here you can see before executing table temporary type. What is this? Global is there. I'll choose what? Global. Am I clear? I'll choose global. Then again logging and no logging. Again it's a different discussion. Okay, that log when you go to logging concept, we'll discuss it. I'll choose global. Okay, that's it, and just click on execute. It's successfully created. You can see at the top. What is that? Create global temporary column table. Same thing I wrote earlier. That's it.
Yes, sir. So can we create a global temporary table for the existing table?
Hey, see, first of all, if you take any environment, once a table is available, can you create one more table with the same name? We can't, right? You need to
Yes, yes. No, sir.
you need to delete the table and then you have to recreate.
Okay,
Understood?
okay, sir.
We have a
Okay,
concept of
thank you.
rename. We have something called as rename. Okay, we can rename the table, but I cannot modify that. Okay.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
Okay, sir.
Sir, can
Thanks.
we practice
Thanks.
this on HANA trial account?
Yes, you can, Abhinash. You can.
Okay, okay.
We can. We can.
Sridhar, I guess Gautam is referring to a tables keyword in ABAP.
No, no, no. What he's saying is, what I understood from Gautam is he has created a normal table. Okay, then later on you want to change the table to global. Suppose here, let me rephrase this.
The intention between the his question is, I guess, he want to use table as a internal table.
No, no, no. Gautam, can you? What is the question? What I understood from your question is, see, this is a table I created. First, test EMP. Let me open the
Yes, sir.
definition. This is a table I created. If you go to the further properties, it is not marked as global. It is not marked as global. Okay.
Yes.
Now, this table, you want to convert this as what? Global temporary table, right? This is what your question?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
sir. Yes.
So I am unable to do it here directly. Let me check any option is there. Any change anywhere? No, 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 not there. Not there. Not there, no. So not possible.
Okay. Okay. Can we use the table as a internal table, such like tables keyword like ABAP?
Yeah, why not? We
Maybe
can.
as a
We can. Yes, we can. But
okay.
tables keyword will not create an internal table. Tables
Is
keyword
a
will
work
create,
area.
yeah, work area.
It's
Work
based
area.
work. Yeah, I remember.
Yes, work area.
Okay.
Done then. Okay, so let me take the chat box. Is it Sudhaka, is any way to mention whether it is a master data or transaction data table? Uh, for that, I need to discuss about the paging concept, Sudhakar. So let me check whether I can discuss or I'll share that with you offline. Avinash, I'll share the details today. Okay. Chalo then, so I'll wind off. Tomorrow, most probably, I'll start with the procedure. So actual coding will start developing from tomorrow. So far, what we understood is just the environment related to what HANA Studio, how to create the table, how to manage the data. Okay, and tomorrow onwards we'll be starting with procedures. So don't miss any sessions from tomorrow. You'll have dependencies going forward. Okay, chalo then. So I'm winding off. We'll continue tomorrow.